Welcome to the podcast, Lighting the Educational Flame, created and produced by educator and author Mark Hoberman, owner and director of Grade Success Tutoring. The purpose of this program is to offer our listeners a variety of stories dealing with many interesting topics surrounding education. It is our hope that students and parents alike will benefit from the wide range of topics, including study skills, test prep, anti-bullying, sports, music, and more. A special aspect of our podcast is that the shows will also feature a teen guest host. We hope you enjoy our show, Lighting the Educational Flame.
I'm Susan Brender, and this is the Susan Brender Show. Now, I am delighted to be speaking with John Hankey, an expert in mindfulness and test anxiety. Welcome to the Susan Brender Show, John Hankey.
Hi, Susan. Nice to speak with you today.
You know, John, you've been helping students overcome academic stress with mindfulness techniques since 2010. Now, define for our audience what mindfulness means.
Sure. So my understanding of mindfulness is a practice or practices that help you tune in to what you're feeling in your body and what you are aware of that's happening in the present moment. So thoughts, sounds, but especially feelings and what you can feel and sensations and emotions that are happening in your body.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about all these emotions that are happening in your body, a lot of people today have so much stress. They're going through so much that, this is a tough time we live in. So when you talk about mindfulness, is that a way to kind of reduce stress and get people in a different kind of mood?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say that, whenever stress is happening, it's related to something that we are doing to ourselves in the moment that is, and in my mind, it's debatable about whether this stress is actually helping us, whether it's even necessary. Yes, stress is a part of life, especially when we're meeting challenges and, really challenging ourselves. We're going to, run into stress, but a lot of stress is unnecessary. And it's a sign that there's toxicity happening in the body, and there's just so many different holistic practices that can help reduce that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, because it's interesting that you mentioned this. I remember yesterday I had a talk with a woman who was discussing the whole issue of toxicity. Now, when you talk about toxicity, again, I want you to define that for our audience, and I want you to explain the ways to get rid of it.
Sure. So I look at blockages or physical tension in the body, which I've never experienced stress or seen anyone who's been experiencing stress without there being blockages and physical tension in the body happening. These are a sign that the system is out of balance in some way, shape, or form, and a combination of practices, nutrition, exercises, treatments are, often very helpful in bringing the human being from being out of balance to being in balance. And then, in our program, we talk about, there's two states, right? There's when we're not present and when we're present, and obviously it's more of a spectrum, of course. But, and we talk about how there's the physical realm, the energetic realm or the emotional realm, and then the mental realm. And so whenever we're not present, there's tension in our body that's preventing us from being present, and then that physical tension serves to block our energy or our emotion, energy in motion. And then it creates racing thoughts, right? And when we are present, our physical bodies are pretty relaxed, very relaxed, and our emotions are flowing, and our thoughts and our mind is clear.
All right, so give me a case in point. So what I want to know is if, not everybody is aware of what mindfulness can be in the moment. They just sort of react to the situation that they're in. Now, have you ever, tell me a story. Tell me something that will give our audience an indication of what it is that they ought to think about. You must have some patient or some person who you've seen that's kind of a good example for our audience.
Absolutely. I'll talk about myself, which is I was trading stock options in New York on the New York Stock Exchange during the financial crisis. It was my first job out of college. And I was, needless to say, experiencing a lot of stress. And so I started studying mindfulness and meditation after the bell to help, alleviate a lot of my stress and anxiety. And for a couple of years, I was following my breath in and out the nose. And to be honest, I wasn't really getting it. My mind was never quiet. I didn't feel a whole lot more peaceful after I was done. I just lacked an understanding of what being present and what being mindful were all about. And so then I found a new teacher, and he told me, okay, switch from following the breath, which is actually kind of, a more advanced practice, really, and switch to a body scan. And he gave me some audios. They were about 7 minutes long. And it was his voice, and it was guiding me to relax my body, one body part at a time, from the top of my head down to the tips of my toes. And so I would listen to the audio, and I would listen to it a second time. I would listen to it back to back. And on the second time through of hearing his voice say, relax your shoulders, notice or feel your arms, I would notice that I could feel my body more deeply, and that there was an inverse correlation between how much tension I was carrying in my body and how deeply I could feel my body. And he said that's what being present is all about. The secret to being present is this term called progressive relaxation, which means that the more that you practice relaxing and feeling your body, same thing, the better that you get at it and the deeper you can go.
Right. Okay, so very interesting stuff. Now, there are people who have clinical depression. That's just sometimes a genetic thing. And, if you said to a person who is very depressed, you said, look, I want you to get into the moment. I want you to take deep breaths. You think they could do it? It doesn't come that naturally, does it?
Yeah, I'm not a licensed psychologist, or I'm a mindfulness coach. So I'm going to, certainly I think it's in everyone's best interest to practice progressively relaxing their body, and I highly recommend the body scan. And then, if you have depression or are depressed, I highly recommend seeing a licensed professional for that.
Right. Do you believe in medicines, in taking any kind of medicines for different things that deal with depression, deal with anxiety, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think, and that's not something that I'll sort of officially comment on, but, I will say that it's, just very much a case-by-case basis. I think we can all agree that there are times when, plenty of times when it's very, very helpful and very, very necessary, and then there are other times where perhaps people are being overprescribed or being prescribed too quickly. But again, I can't, really say anything more than that.
Yeah. Now, John, you're a certified hypnotherapist with a private practice, and, you study yoga, medical qigong, emotional freedom techniques, nutrition, acupuncture, and many other holistic healing modalities. Now, first of all, hypnotherapists, people kind of question them, don't they? And what is a hypnotherapist really about?
Sure. For the record, I have not studied acupuncture. I think I do think acupuncture school is phenomenal, and everyone that I know that has been to it has just come away with such a huge breadth of knowledge about Chinese medicine and about how the body can be, the body's balance can be restored. But I have not actually been myself. As far as hypnotherapy, the main thing that I utilize from hypnotherapy is the subconscious mind. And Susan, do you mind practicing like a 20-second drill with me here for a second?
Sure. I
okay.
Slide it, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and close your eyes.
Okay.
And imagine that you're biting into a lemon. Make it real. Taste it. And when you've made it so vivid that you're starting to salivate, you can open your eyes.
Yeah. It works.
Right. So that's a drill that I got from David Allen, the best-selling author of Getting Things Done. And I actually interviewed him for my own radio show back a couple years ago. But that is your subconscious mind, right? So you salivating is your subconscious mind. That's your body. Your subconscious mind is your body and how your body responds to where you put your attention, okay? So your body responds very similarly to thoughts as it does to the actual physical world. So we leverage this concept of the subconscious mind with my company, Mindful Test Taking, right? We have students close their eyes and vividly visualize that they are taking a test.
Really?
And if this student gets stressed during tests, their body will tense up as soon as they begin to visualize it, right? And this is actually a good thing for the purpose of our mindfulness coaching service, because then we can use what I said was the true secret to mindfulness, which is a term called progressive relaxation. So now we have our students visualize that they're taking the test, and then we train them and we help them and guide them and teach them to progressively relax until they can see themselves taking the test and their body stays relaxed. And as soon as that happens, they're ready to just walk in and take the test. Right? We're not giving students Band-Aids, techniques to try to cover up the stress, to use once they're actually in the test themselves. We give them exercises they can use and receive relief in 30 to 60 seconds sometimes. But the bulk of our program is designed to clear out testing stress before the test actually starts, before the day of the test.
Yeah. Now, again, we live in a hard time, and there's a lot of PTSD out there. People complain, certainly people from the military, they complain all the time that they have PTSD. Now, does this practice, does it make a difference in their life, or can it make a difference in their life?
Yes, I truly believe so. In fact, I've had people with PTSD who've been referred to me by psychologists before, which is fine for me to do for my private practice as a hypnotherapist, as long as they're seeing a licensed, professional. I can certainly help with that. And when the person is ready, you can just have them access, from a very safe place, access and just have them become aware of how they're carrying tension in their bodies with respect to what happened. And then you can train them to progressively relax until they are no longer tensing themselves up with respect to what happened in their past. Yeah, so anytime, and it's even more universal, which is that anytime you're having a negative thought or a negative feeling or unpleasant feeling, it's accompanied by or even characterized by physical tension, right? Anytime you're having a positive thought or a positive feeling, it's happening because you've relaxed enough to allow the positive feeling to move through your body. In Chinese medicine, blood is feminine, and energy, or qi, your life force, is masculine. So your blood is the chest that carries your life force energy and your emotions, energy in motion. So anytime you're feeling a negative emotion, releasing tension in the body and unwinding the blockages will help you transmute those negative feelings into more positive feelings.
Wow. That's an incredible thing. Now, how do you make this work relatable to teens and students? I know it's kind of easy for adults to be able to incorporate this in their lives because they've had experience all their lives dealing with different health situations. But to kids, can they understand this, and should they use this methodology?
Sure. Yes, they absolutely will benefit and do benefit from it. So we use the term, I came up with this term called energetic fitness. So there's anaerobic fitness, which gives you bigger muscles. Aerobic fitness gives you leaner muscles. And then energetic fitness gives you more relaxed muscles. So we actually empower our students from high school all the way up to the graduate level to become ambitious relaxers, right? They're not trying to see how many miles they can run, although that can be healthy for some people, or how many weights they can lift, which is obviously something that needs to be done carefully. Our students are motivated and driven to release as much tension from their body as they possibly can. And what happens is, your blood vessels expand the more relaxed you become. So your circulation improves and your body becomes more oxygenated. And, you can even take it deeper and say that a lot of the health and behavioral and even psychological challenges and issues that we're seeing, whether in people or in teens, are exacerbated and even perpetuated by tension in the body. So, and this is I'm just speaking from my personal experience, which is I've overcome and unwound so many health issues through using progressive relaxation and really just gotten to the bottom of so much of what I've been suffering from over the years, which was chronic back pain, insomnia, a lot of stress and anxiety. And so when you use progressive relaxation and mindful awareness to unwind what it is that you're doing to yourself, you're going to see a lot of these health issues over time fall away.
So when you talk about illnesses, and I'll give you just a couple of examples, of course, cancer. The other one is heart disease, because we have so much obesity and so much stress going on today. Is mindfulness appropriate for somebody who has cancer, even though it might be toward the end of their lives? Will that help them at all?
I think mindfulness is important for everyone, and I think regardless of the illness, I think stress and physical tension and blockages to blood flow are going to be contributing to the ailment in some way, shape, or form. And especially with the boosted circulation, right, you're also going to be boosting the immune system of whoever's practicing it. So I think that, society tends to live sort of from the neck up, right? We're all carrying so much tension in our bodies that we're sort of lost in thought, for such a high portion of our lives. And then it really does come out in a lot of the behavioral and health challenges that we see. Yeah. So I absolutely think, and especially for things like asthma, right, you can see how tension and blockages in the lungs would contribute to, if not even cause, some cases of asthma. So, I think this is just a really important philosophy for, frankly, the whole planet to become privy to, which is how deeply can I relax and therefore breathe, right? And I think that's really, I lifted a lot of weights in college. I ran a lot of miles in college, and it really wasn't until about 7 years ago when I realized, okay, how deeply can I relax and feel my body, that I really started to see some changes in my mental, emotional, and behavioral health.
Wow. All right. So last but not least, have you ever written a book about this, or do you have anything that people can listen to that would help them understand a little bit more?
Sure, yeah. We have an ebook called Masterful Performance with EFT on our website. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. EFT's main website, EFTuniverse.com, gets about 10 million hits per year. So it's a very legitimate, and they have about 5,000 different studies and stories on their website. So yeah, there's a great ebook on my site. It's a lot of pictures, easy to read. It's only like 25 pages. So that's great. And then people can email info@mindfultesttaking, and I can send you our other ebook called The Ancient Secret of Mindfulness, which the secret of mindfulness is a 5-letter word called relax. So it's really that simple, and I highly recommend the body scan. The body scan of just scanning your body one body part at a time from head to toe. And then we have articles and audios and videos all on the website mindfultesttaking.com.
Well, that's a great way to kind of get a feeling for what you're talking about, and I'm really delighted that you shared that with our audience, and I want to say thank you so much to John Hankey for helping students overcome academic stress with mindful techniques since 2010. And if you're interested in finding out more about him, go to the sites that he mentioned. So thank you, John Hankey, for being on the Susan Brender Show.
Thank you for listening to Lighting the Educational Flame with Mark Hoberman. To contact Mark, email him at info@gradesuccess.com.